This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
At 6 o'clock, we'll call the regular meeting of the Policy Procedure Board to order. First item on the 4 out of 5 members present. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of September 21st, 2023.
Someone's coming.
Hi, Randall.
You already like,
That's what I did today.
there's no chance.
So like just on the sick leave there with, having the 5 days and then possibly accumulating up to 10, that would be our recommendation, but we'd still have to hold the public hearing
Exactly.
Right.
and go
That's-
through the whole process. It's just
Yep.
what we discussed.
Yep, that's on our agenda, to review what we reviewed, to make sure we all agree before it goes to public meeting. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of September 21st.
Second.
There's a motion made, seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Passes. Next on the agenda is open time for the public. Any member of the public that wishes to speak on an item that is not on the agenda tonight already? Seeing none, moving on. New business. Is there any other necessary business that cannot wait until the next meeting on November 16th that is not already on our agenda for tonight? Seeing none, moving on.
My late PCF?
If we get, so as far as that goes, if we can get through this pile in a relatively short order, like 60 minutes, we'll take those items up tonight. I have 3 late
There are
filings
3,
that we'll take those 3 up, provided that we can still get out before 8 p.m. We're on a time crunch. We're volunteers,
And if we don't, we'll schedule a meeting for next week,
Yes.
if possible, as soon as possible.
So first item on the agenda is from the Assessor's Office. A PCF related to Janine Domina, Admin Assistant, wage increase from $18.76 per hour to $21.76 per hour. Cindy, do you want to be heard on this?
First of all, yes, one disclaimer. Brand new to assessors and brand new to the town of Southampton personnel process. And as a sort of preamble, the assessor's office has struggled, and this is news I've received from the current assessors to staff. So we have an interim principal assessor, and we have an administrative assistant named Janine Domina, who has years of experience and has been able to jump in and do some duties that are really beyond what the expectation was, the way that was originally written. I am going to ask anybody on the PPPB board to tell me if there is an inconsistency with her compensation rate compared to others in her category. That's my inability to make comparisons. I just don't know enough about the personnel issues. Secondly, Robin informed me that she modified the recommended salary from $21.76 to $21.75. You may see that. I think
Bradley
on my
modified
page.
it. He signed it.
And so finally, just to say, Janine really has been forced to go beyond what is required of her in her job, and she has some years of experience. She did take courses, and perhaps they need to be updated, but she has done some, research, some training in the past that is a bit beyond what somebody in an administrative position might be expected to do. So that's the first one.
Okay. So just for clarification for the record, the wage scale for step 12 is $21.75 versus $21.76, which notes the change.
Okay.
As a general practice, we try to stay on the steps and not somewhere in between.
Yep. I just added 3 to the previous
Yep.
salary.
So that's that issue. And then, so the request is to go from a step 7 to a step 12 and stay within the same grade. In general, that's the request. Discussion?
I mean, I agree that she should move up to a step 12 based off of her experience and, you know, the classes that she is taking.
So much, okay, so how many years has she been in the current position?
She's been in the current position about 13, 12 to, she's been with the town about 16 years, I believe it was, in the current position, like 12 to 13. And then she was also certified at one point with the MAAO.
Does the position require the certification, or was that extra?
I believe the admin position did also require the certification.
I'm not so sure required.
I have the
The
job
admin
description
assistant
with
that
it.
required.
The next page is the job
The
description.
admin assistant did it, and does it require it?
Yeah, they do.
Must pass the Division Local Service Gateway 101 course
Yeah.
within 6 months of
I think that's a
employment?
little different.
No, that is different, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Administrative assistant.
She did the other courses that principal assessors did years ago. She also had the experience as the town clerk at one point, which part of this job is impact from the public, questions asked, sometimes
Right, so, but
challenging questions.
the rule that we have to apply is that no years in the same position means you're in step 1. And then each step is supposed to represent a year in the position. So if she has 12 to 13, you're asking for a 12, that meets the standard. But if the job description requires that you maintain that certification, which I'm not seeing.
No, it's not. It's not required for an administrative
Right,
assistant.
okay. And then, can anybody talk to why, I mean, I think I know the answer,
What?
but again, for the record, can anybody talk to why there is sufficient money in the budget
I don't really,
to do this?
I don't honestly know myself. Ed?
I know the answer to that one is because they're supposed to add a second administrative assistant.
Right.
And the budget was adjusted to add that second administrative
Right.
assistant.
Oh,
So
so
that the
yeah.
office was staffed
Okay.
Monday through Thursday.
Right.
When, and the hours are supposed to be open.
Right.
From
So there is a
8:30 to
note on
4.
here now that with this increase, it would mean that an assistant that was hired would have to start up at the first or second step.
Right, that's from
I
Bradley.
got you. Okay,
The one that was approved at our last meeting
with the range, yep,
would have to be hired at the lower range.
in order to meet the
Yeah,
budget.
depending on when they're hired as well.
Yep.
So that can make a difference.
Any other discussion? What's the will of the committee?
I move to pass the PCF for Janine Domina to increase her from 1876 to 2175.
Based on years of service in the
Based on
current
years of
position?
service, so she would, yeah, years of service, she would be increased from a step 7 to a step 12.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Yes?
You realize this is a very similar situation to where we made an opposite decision not 2 months ago?
I do not.
You don't remember talking about one of my employees' salaries?
I do, but weren't you looking for a different grade?
What?
A different grade? This is staying within the same grade. Weren't you looking for a reclassification?
Nope. Same grade move up steps based on years of service.
Okay. Noted for the record.
Okay.
There's a motion on the floor, it's already been acted, we need to act on the motion. Okay, I'm gonna let the town administrator talk, but generally speaking, for me, once there's a valid motion on the floor, only discussion amongst the committee. Go ahead, Ed.
I'm just going to say that 2 years ago in the budget, within certain parameters, individuals were moved up beyond where they were, numbers of steps, including this one. It didn't take them all the way to where they were should be, but that was a jump to try to bring people into a more correct range.
Okay. So, vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Passes.
Can I ask one question? What date is it effective?
Well, we approve it tonight, but it doesn't become, well, the request is, there was no date. So then it would be effective upon, if it's accepted by the select board.
Okay, very good, thanks.
10, 19, 23. So let's just pause for a second. So the request was, Randall, the request from the past was to, do you want to go on there for a second? All right. So I suspect the employee you're talking about is our committee's clerk. So
You have made a
she
correct
has,
assumption.
so she has recused herself for a few minutes so we can talk about this.
Yes.
So the request was, I mean, you're going to have to refresh my memory here.
So I was looking to get my administrative assistant a wage commensurate with her years of experience.
Right, years of experience in the existing position.
Years of relevant experience.
Okay, so all right, so there is a difference. Like the one we just approved, the person's been doing the same job for either 12 to 13 years according to our town treasurer.
In the
But-
assessor's office?
That's what I
She
heard.
was town clerk. She was here about 16 years, but only town clerk for a handful of them.
She was
So,
In the assessor's before?
right,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's actual experience. So how many years has the clerk been your admin?
Been my admin, and then there's no,
Right,
there's no comparable experience then. Not directly in this position.
correct. The experience is overall municipal experience in a similar related capacity,
Yes.
right?
I mean,
Go ahead, now's the time to talk.
I still believe that the experience that she's had in other offices within the municipality do relate to, a lot of what happens in Randall's office. So, even, I would think that it would count towards,
So for the
Per
record,
years.
what are the other experiences?
well, even how she processes all the turnovers for the transfer station, for, highway permits,
But she's doing all that now.
Right, that's
So I'm
what she
saying-
does now.
Right, so I'm saying
on the
outside of
other
that.
end, she was already doing that for, processing turnovers in the treasurer's office. Like, it's all kind of, there are jobs that, are similar, duties that are similar, that
Right, so I don't disagree with you. So what was the position in the treasurer's office?
she was the assistant treasurer collector.
For what period of time?
Oh, jeez, how do you know? Was she in there about 10 years, Randall? I think, and then she was at the school as
And Norris?
she was actually the food service director, I believe, or for a couple of years,
I remember that.
right?
I don't know how long.
That's where she
but-
started,
Yeah, she
and then
did.
she came here. I don't know exactly like how
Okay.
long she was there, but she has a lot of municipal experience, and I think it can be transferable to what she does in Randall's office.
Yeah, I can tell you I know it can't because
Right.
I've seen it.
So what grade,
I mean-
what is the current grade and step?
And
The grade is a step less than a lot of the other admins.
But I have the flow chart in front of me.
Sorry, got a lot of pages in here.
then there's new employees coming in too, honestly, John, that we shouldn't be starting at such a high step if the experience has to be directly in that office,
Well, again, I don't agree with the current policy that's in place, but
Right.
that's the policy we're sworn to enforce. And the only thing that allows us discretion is the years
Right.
to match it up that way.
It's a new hire.
And/or justification of new hire by the department head that is accepted by PPP and then the select board. Right? That's the current rules.
Right, I think a new hire should be treated the same as far as experience goes. think we should treat the people, well that.
So then we should find the section in the manual and change it to allow us that flexibility.
I never read the section in the manual, so honestly.
Yeah, and I don't mean to sidetrack you, I read the agenda, saw this is coming up, and it's just frustrating to me. Because I've come back a couple times to see how I can get an existing employee, very similar situation, just where they should be, where I feel they should be.
But the other issue that you're gonna run into is, if I recall your budget, that position's in a single line item.
It is, but I mean, we seem to find ways to get around it for other departments, and it just seems very, like, completely subjective as to this person can have it because of X, Y, and Z, but this person can't. And it feels like we're moving around chess pieces, and it's like, well, this department's more important, or this person is not.
So the previous issue we took up with was a single line item that had budgeted for 2 people, and there's an opening there. So there's no special town meeting required to move that money.
It's very convenient, right? I mean, why did we approve 2 positions if we're now not going to use them, and now we're just going to shift the money?
Well, we're going to have
they
a
are. It's
special
posted.
town
They just
meeting.
they haven't hired anybody yet. And it's similar with the police department, where they've got X number of patrol officers, right? It's all in the same line item. But so my point is that should we do something different, it's going to have to be subject to special town meeting appropriation. Because like your highway foreman and your mechanic, if you had one, right?
Yeah. That's
the same line item, right? So you can easily move.
No, I follow you, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So, do you know her grade or step? Anybody?
She's a grade
Should be a
3.
grade 2, is it?
She's a grade 3.
Okay.
She's a grade 3?
Yeah.
And probably a 4 at 1951.
So I believe she's at 2069, right? Step 6.
All right, that'd be a 6.
I don't have it here. I'm flustered, so I'm sorry.
I believe she's a grade 3, step 6.
What did we? I can answer my own question. What did we do with the previous request? Did we take? Is it on our agenda? Tabled?
Nope, so basically you approved the previous to be consistent with the other actions that, going up 2 steps like everyone else did. And that was it,
Yeah.
but I requested at that time what we could do, and you said we'd have to wait until the study came in.
Yep.
Which we're still waiting for.
Yeah, which again, that's going to be my stance, but if this committee wants to try and pass something and send it to the select board, I mean, I'm still good.
But you see
I'd
the
rather.
inconsistency we just
I do
have.
see it.
Yeah, and it's frustrating, John.
Okay.
It's like existing employee, look, we talked about this before, and I will say one more thing, and I'll let you get on with the meeting. We talked about new employees coming in at step 10 for certain positions, but then existing employees, it's like you're demeaning the experience that they've had within the town, is with the way it feels. We can do it for new employees, but if you're here, you're stuck with the existing policy.
Right.
It's the way the rules are written. So if we don't like the rules, we should change the rules.
Where is this written?
Yeah, I've never seen this written. Again, it's like some of these policies
just-
are coming out of nowhere.
It's in the manual on
I don't have the
how you
manual.
assign the steps, and they're assigned on day 1.
In
So
the
you
policy
either
and procedures manual?
you make that argument at that point in time, and that's where your career goes. Now, the missing piece is that the scales should be updated at least annually or every 3 years to adjust for the cost of living
But-
calculations that go with it. That's not in the manual, but it's what should happen. Go ahead, Jim.
I'm sorry, when Robin began her career, we didn't have this scale, like,
You had
we
the 1
didn't
through
have
10,
these
right?
steps. We had the one that's actually in the manual, or
Mm-hmm.
was, this is not, what we go by now isn't in the manual.
But what was in the manual at the time of her hire had the same number of grades, but had fewer steps.
I'll have to look, I haven't really fully looked into exactly how the manual
Yep.
words that, so.
So, Randall, if you want to take a few minutes, go down to the break room, fill out a PCF with whatever you're proposing, and we can take it up
I'm not
tonight.
gonna do it tonight, we'll do it, we can do it in the future. Like, I'd like to have a discussion about this, what's fair.
Okay.
So, I'm not gonna rush into anything, and I won't take up any more of your time tonight.
Yeah, there's 10 steps.
Okay.
Right, and 13 grades.
Any other discussion on this before we have Robin come back in? No? Thanks, Ed.
You're welcome.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is a PRF for an assistant assessor, new position. Cindy?
So again, back to what I said first, is that we've had a difficult time filling the principal assessor role. So we are proposing the creation of a new role. I believe, to me, it makes sense that anybody applying for a new role would have to apply. It is not automatic. We're not certain, but maybe the incumbent in the administrative assistant role would apply for this and might meet the qualifications for it. And so that's why we're proposing this new role. And let me add that as we think about the future of the staffing of the, they all sort of come together. We think about the importance of the fact that the current administrative assistant may be approaching an age where she may choose to retire. We don't know for sure, but we need to have people, being prepared to do training and to, be mentored to future. And that's all part of this assistant assessor concept. Further, if you look at the job description for the assistant assessor, newly proposed position, includes some stuff that was taken off the principal assessor job description, things that are a bit more administrative in nature, but yet not administrative assistant stuff. And so that's why we're doing, so the essential functions of this proposed new job, if you look under essential functions, are helping to, prepare reports under the direction of a principal assessor, helps with the operating budget, reviews many things that we formerly would only have expected a principal assessor to do, wholly and completely by his or herself. That's the rationale.
Discussion? So I guess my question is, I thought the last detail from the select board level was, when we passed the budget, is that we are moving in a direction to outsource assessors' responsibilities and to contract with a firm.
News to me, did not know that.
Because it seems like now we're adding staff and ramping up that office, which is why we moved all the money out of wages and put them in consultant line items.
We did just pass the second administrative assistant, just so the office could be, fully staffed, because the interim principal assessor is only able to work part-time hours, or only is, he only works part-time hours right now, I'm not sure.
Intelligent.
But, sorry. I think as far as a new position that we don't have scored, I see a grade 3 written on here. I'm not sure who decided it was a grade 3. It wasn't ever scored. Would it have to also be, because it's a new position, go through the Collins Center like the water field tech and other new positions?
I think the grade 3 note is just the range. I think that's why that's there.
But you're putting it into that grade. So you're saying it's a grade 3, but who determined that?
Bradley's notes proposed grade 3. That's
You're right, but Bradley doesn't have the authority.
It doesn't have the authority.
That's
to
what
determine
he's
that.
basing the numbers on.
Okay.
So I just think that, I don't really,
So then so again, there's existing general fund money in the budget to approve this.
According to Bradley, he put all his notes there.
there'd be,
And I need some clarification based on what you just said, Jen, that I know that there's a consultant line item and that's come up, but I thought that was temporary. I thought that was just to help out under these circumstances.
A year
I'm not really
ago
sure.
when they did the budget, when, was it Paul? Paul was chair, they basically had abandoned the idea that we were gonna have staff to do this, and we needed to outsource with a firm that does it for multiple municipalities. Still keep a admin support person there for the public, but all the assessor work would be done by this firm.
which is why the money was moved out of wages and into expenses, right?
So they could enter into a contract.
Yes.
Ed?
And being the filthy ogre that I am, I'm also going to bring up the fact, since I'm responsible for it, that office does not have the IT infrastructure to add a third position and add computers. We don't have the jacks to do that.
Well, we're not looking to have those individuals work at the very same time. We're looking to, stagger the time.
But they can't share a computer.
Oh, yeah?
That would mean adding a third computer. And we don't have the jacks,
So
the
it-
infrastructure to go through the switches and get them into
Yep.
the server.
So the Board of Assessors, as a group, I'm assuming that because this is before us, have taken a vote that this is the direction they want to go into. They want to create this position.
Yeah.
You're not doing this on your own.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely. I'm
okay.
not- I'm doing my best here based on what I'm
Right, so
learning. Yeah.
I think the proper course of action is to treat it like we did on the wire department, and to hold it and request the select board send it to the Collins to have it added to the study. And it'll be up to because I think it's $250, $500 for every job we give them.
500.
$500. They'll have to find the $500 to do it.
Who has to fund it? We do?
The
From
select
out of our
board.
budget?
Well, the select board, if we send it to the Collins, we gotta pay for it somehow.
So the assistant assessor also doesn't have to take the courses from the MAAO?
Well, that's what's proposed before us. So what I would suggest is, this is what they're proposing. We send it to Collins. Collins is gonna come back and say, we found 64 examples of assistant assessors in the Commonwealth. Here's their similar job descriptions and the duties. Yours is in compliance or out of compliance with that.
Okay.
And make a recommendation on what that should be,
Okay.
is what I would expect to come back, along with the range and pay, which would settle that grading issue. So that would be my recommendation, is to treat this like we did the other ones, the new positions that came before us.
Do we know the timing on the Collins?
Well,
Report I know.
the initial one is supposed to be out by the end of December.
December?
This one,
December.
yeah, but this one being added now would probably come out after that report,
Okay.
right? I would think.
I'm prepared to follow whatever you all agree to.
Are you guys comfortable with
I
that?
mean, I think for now, the assessors have the ability to hire 2 admin staff, which should be able
And we
to,
adjusted the wage
keep
for the
them in
senior
a good
member.
place while we're waiting for the Collins.
Right, and we adjusted the wage on the senior.
Right, and
member.
we adjusted the wage on the, administrative assistant, so hopefully that will,
Okay,
I would motion to hold for the Collins Center to review.
so the motion is to hold this and request the select board add this to the Collins Center review.
right.
There's a motion made, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none? So moved. PRF for principal assessor, modification of job duties.
Right, and that goes hand in hand with the one we just spoke of. What we did was we modified the job description that has been in place to remove some of the responsibilities from
Okay.
the principal assessor. So I guess,
So in this particular case, you're not asking, right now, you're not asking for any change in compensation?
correct.
Okay.
We're just altering job description, maybe we just need to wait.
So the altered job description that's before us, did you provide that to the Collins Institute for the current one or no?
No, it's,
They
it
have
was
the
after.
current,
It was
yeah.
It was
after?
after we were sort of getting our act together here, and, no, we didn't get there in time.
Okay, so Ed, what's the best course of action? So this is just to change the existing job description for the principal assessor. And these changes do not reflect the version that the Collins Institute was given. Should the assessors forward this to the Collins and ask them to replace their existing one on file with
I'd say
this?
they should forward to the select board to see if the select board agrees with it, and then if they want to, then forward to Collins.
And it doesn't need any
So-
action by this body?
Because it's based.
It is taking away duties, right, to give to the assistant assessor,
Assistant.
but keeping it in the same grade. What would the hours be on this? It doesn't say.
I would never take away duties from the principal assessor
Right.
to give to somebody else, because guess what?
I agree, 'cause you
That
have to do
person
it.
has to supervise
You're
them.
responsible
They
for it in
should
the
know how to
end,
do it
right.
And be responsible for it, so.
So with that, you would say, don't alter the job description?
I would not take duties away from the principal assessor to give to a subordinate or a treasurer collector and give them to a subordinate, because that person supervises that other person, should know how to do it.
In the event that that lower office is vacated,
Yeah.
you don't want the
Oh, I
principal
see what you
assessor to
mean.
come in and say, it's not my job description.
Yeah, and that individual has to be able to say, that's not correct, or that is correct.
Well, based on that, I could see modifying it yet again to say is responsible for doing all these duties or supervising.
Right.
And the other thing is, actually, Collins Center should be coming back to the department heads and saying, okay, well, here's the job description that was sent. Do you want to make any modifications to that?
So what I'm
There should be
yeah.
there should be a step already in the process.
Right, so what I'm hearing here, Cindy, is you're gonna ask us for leave to withdraw and take this out of consideration, you're gonna take this back. Because Collins is gonna come back to you guys and say, here's what we have, do you wanna
All right.
modify this at all?
All right, and then we'll come back to this meeting if we feel we need to
Yep.
do it again. That sounds
Okay.
good to me. When do you meet next? Did you decide that, or is that not yet decided?
It looks like it's going to be right,
The 15th of November.
it's a Wednesday.
When?
It's
November
Wednesday, the 15th.
Okay, it'll have to be Darcy because I'll be away then, so, okay. Great, thank you.
All right, so that brings us to the police department. PCF for Marissa what? Help me here. Parmageddon?
Parmigiani?
Full-time police officer, 37.5 hours a week, step 6, 2883. Effective upon approval, full-time benefited, step 6, 2883. There is a supplemental information in here that the union does not oppose starting at this step based on the experience of the individual. Right? Am I reading? Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
So it says that they would start off with 21 days of paid vacation, but the union agreement says the first year you get 7 days. So how can you go against the union contract?
Because they agreed to, same thing with the steps, right? It's not step 1. They agreed to have their experience in
So,
Jim.
benefits.
no, I saw that, but
Okay.
so if the union contract reads something though, there just has to be a letter saying that everyone agrees to,
The union is the only one that can allow that to be greater.
okay.
And they have to vote
Okay.
to do that.
All right.
Yes.
And then we
Okay.
have to accept it, but
Okay.
they're saying they're not going to object to it.
I know the union contract says 1 week for the first year, but then I was wondering too, because they are on a 1-year probationary period, and if they start off with 21 days and they can't use that time, what happens
As far as the
after?
probationary period,
So they can't, yeah, they're on probation for a year and they can't use this 21 days. What happens to the 21 days at the end?
I haven't had an experience yet, so I...
Does the collective bargaining agreement
I think
match
it
the
says-
handbook? Because if you're a non-union, you can't use any paid time off while you're on probation.
I brought it just in case,
But-
but.
The
No.
collective bargaining agreement might be different.
Yeah, they get,
Especially since you're 1 year instead of 90
the
days.
contract.
Yeah, no one gets vacation in their first year, so.
So if they start with 21 days and they can't use it, it's just gonna, I think they can get paid out for up to 10 days at the end of the year.
Not
So I-
police, I don't think that's dispatch.
Oh, that's dispatch?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. But where, you know, what, would they lose it all? Like, where would it, how will it work? I guess I just don't.
You know, I don't have the contract with me, so I don't know.
I have it, Ian, but
Language.
What's 4 on 2?
do you wanna look at it? I don't know.
Think they're encouraging?
I couldn't understand how it would.
The tape's on.
I will say that it has been approved for numerous positions relative to this.
Yeah, I know, and I don't know if it has or not, because I'm relatively new to the board. So, I'm just looking at this one.
Just trying to find out what probation is here.
Well, while Ian's looking at that one, I think the next one we can take without a significant discussion. It's a PCF related to Scott Grove resignation effective September 12th, 2023.
Motion to approve resignation of Scott Grove.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then we have PCF for Edward Hagelstein, separation. This individual actually never started, and which is subject to the one that we're currently reviewing. So, motion to accept separation effective, I guess, immediately.
I'll second that.
I'll make the motion, Robin will second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And, well, this one's gonna be a discussion.
I'm not sure if the union contract is clear, you know, as to how it would be handled is all.
Under old business, I can report out about the second bullet point. Select board liaison brought forward a request, select board to request the Collins Center prioritize water field supervisor position in their study. On 9/26, select board voted not to request priority. Okay, so that's the update. So it's just staying in line with everything else that's coming out.
I think we can move forward on this PCF and they can deal with how they're,
They can, yeah,
Figure out
I mean,
the
we can
probation.
figure it out after, but
carry over later if
it
there
just,
is.
Okay, so
That's fine
is there
by
a
me.
motion, is there a
Raise
motion
with
to
that.
approve it or deny it? That's the motion.
no, we can approve it and we can decide the vacation time and like
How it's
figure out
handled.
how it's gonna be handled in the future, but if we give her the 3 weeks, is it possible that she'll just lose it all?
Jen, I
I'm
don't
not
see
sure.
that in the probation.
You know?
In the article under probation, is it under vacation?
So it's
I'll
very,
look at vacation and see if there's any language in there that
It's
says
just-
vacation may not be taken.
I mean, there's
during
not-
probation.
there's not very clear language, so that's why I was
The
wondering.
only thing I can
But
think
it's
of is
fine, we
going
can
off of
just
past
approve it.
precedents now, or,
We,
you know,
we can approve it and deal with it in the future, but
Yeah,
it's possible that she won't get to keep that, you know?
if she leaves, you're saying.
Either way.
If she
Either
leaves,
way,
she's discharged.
right, Ed?
I gotta-
How does that
I
work?
gotta twist this.
Okay,
You've been the treasurer collector for 3 years now, or longer?
longer, Ed.
Okay. In that period of time, have you ever let a payroll go through that had vacation time on it for a police officer that has been here for less than a year? And if you have, you've answered your own question.
I mean, no, we don't pay vacation if they've been here for less than a year. They aren't supposed to take vacation times. I think there's been some circumstances
These
Right.
circumstances with the union's approval. That's
where
what
there's
it is.
union approval that they're allowed to take it sooner, right?
So we've hired, I want to say,
This doesn't say that though. This says she's on a year probationary period,
yep,
which, I don't know, when I first,
But she's on a year
Everything's,
because
like, changing.
the Commonwealth requires law enforcement to
Right.
1-year probation.
right,
So that's the exception there, and if the union contract is silent on it, she can't use vacation time during the initial 90 days of probationary period. Because and it
Okay.
just says for the purposes of separation, and I'm
she
going off
can find
recall, the individual could still be terminated while on probation in months 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's probably the first 90 days, you can't be taking vacation time.
I don't,
probationary
I'm
period.
looking
It was
at
a year,
everything
but
is so,
that
this
could have been
contract
prior
is so
contract.
difficult to follow. I'm looking at our vacation, it's not, just trying to find the vacation.
But what I thought I heard was our member Jennifer make a motion to approve it as presented, and we would deal with whether vacation was carried over or paid later upon clarification. So is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Motion made second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So, just so I can get some clarification on that, you know, if this person, we had a conditional offer of employment, does this change her conditional offer?
She gets it, she gets her 3 weeks vacation.
Yeah.
What's unclear is whether or not she could actually use it in her first 3 years. But she's got the right to it. That's the
So
point
that's
Jen's
something that,
making.
you know,
We have
needs
to find out.
Because that means I'm gonna have to change her conditional offer of employment.
I guess for me, it's hard,
I can't
As in-
hire someone in good conscience and say, we
Right.
gave you this.
Yeah,
We
right.
offered you this, and that's based on past.
My gut
Three hires
tells me,
that.
my gut tells me that if it wasn't a police officer, any other position in town, it was you can't use it during your initial 90 days.
but any other person in town too wouldn't get to start off above what the
Right, but even if they got 1
policy
week,
said.
right? Because you get 1 week,
Right.
Right,
right? So after 90 days, you could start to use some of that time.
what you earned, yes. But you would earn it, you know, it's prorated by the month.
Mhm.
So by the end of your year, you would earn 1 week.
I just want to ask Jen, where do you see this in the contract? I cannot find what you're referring to.
I don't think Jen's not referring to the contract, she's referring to the personnel policy procedure
I'm-
manual.
No, I'm referring to the police contract.
So where in there does it say that they cannot take vacation time within their probation?
That's the,
period?
Is it silent?
If it's silent,
It's
then
not-
there's no exemption. They can take it.
all I was saying was that, it says that they get 7 days the first year. So for a long time, that's what we did. We went by this, and I was able to actually track their vacation time, their personal days, their sick days, because I understood what they have. Now our office, like, it's really hard for us to track it, because we don't know what anyone in the, you know, police department has. Like, not that that has to do with this, but I'm just trying to understand if we're not going to follow the union contract, it's going to be different for every officer coming in. How does it work? Like,
Well,
you
you get
know?
the PCFs, so you would have knowledge of their vacation time. They're delivered to you.
Right, okay, so I would have that, but I don't know. We can just pass the PCF, like, did we already?
We did.
We already approved it, right? I just need to understand going forward, because right now we still don't have accruals in for any officers, but
So
I-
your primary concern right now is how to
no,
actually
it's not just
administratively...
that. I'm just trying to figure out, like,
Yeah,
well, I
how
wanted
do-
to I wanted to know for sure that the union contract could just, like, if there's a union contract set in place, can you just decide to change that? Because it does say your first year is 7 days, so.
I don't see
Can
that.
Randall's guys, can he hire someone new then and give them more time if the union agrees? More time off?
He can make the request. And if, under that scenario, and if the union votes...
I'm just like wondering, like.
No, that's what I'm telling you. If the,
Yeah.
if the union at the highway department votes, if they believe the argument that, that Randall puts forward, it says, we've got a mechanic, 35 years at industrial trucking,
Right.
coming on board, we can't start him at step 1. Do you guys agree to start him at step 10? And look at here, the guy had 6 weeks vacation, so we want to give him 3. If they vote the yes, that can come forward. If we approve it, it can go forward, and then the select board has to agree to it. And then it could happen.
And just for a point of note here, it's not an arbitrary number we're throwing out. I'm not saying, hey, just to get you on board, I'm
No,
gonna
I
try
saw
to get you
that,
this
yeah,
much.
I saw
based
that
on
it's
their
based
number
off
of
the years and
of-
prior,
Of experience.
right, prior police
So
service, so you
it's
put
where
her.
they're stepwise, right?
I did see that, I just, I didn't, I
So
don't
is that
know.
the water
Understand the
superintendent a
process.
couple weeks ago?
The audience is here to
Okay.
watch, not to comment. Thank you. Raise your hands. Next.
I just want to make this point of clarification. I'm not gonna, I don't, in good conscience, can't say, come on board, and then have this change. Right? I need to be clear. I need some clarity on that. I don't want somebody to say, hey, we just gave you 3 weeks of vacation, it's part of your conditional offer of employment, and then say, oh, by the way, you can't have.
Well, I guess...
Just approved it.
Yeah, we approved it, but I guess my question is, I mean, this is like the 3rd time we've done this.
It has been, yes.
So how's it worked for the other 2?
It's been, they get the vacation.
Well, one of them, is one of them the one that didn't ever start working?
Oh, it was another...
And you have to remember
It
too
was
that
another-
although I am the treasurer
I know,
collector, I am not in the assistant position that enters
Right.
all of that information, so I wouldn't necessarily even, see it. I have to trust that, like, she's doing that job, so I don't know, like, every detail of the vacation being entered in my defense, Ed.
Can we do, I mean, today's Thursday. You guys are in tomorrow, right? You and Ed are in tomorrow?
Yeah.
Can we do this tomorrow? Can the treasurer, collector, and town administrator get together and kind of figure this out under the existing language that's there and give an opinion? Whether it's past practice or
I
not?
just don't see any existing language.
As far as I'm concerned, if Ian can prove that the last 2 hires that have come in from other places have gotten more vacation time than is in the contract, it's past practice.
Well, but have they actually been able to use it? That's the key
I
element.
can tell you for sure,
Right.
Kupion has, yes, and I believe Hurley has as well. Hurley just got on he just met the criteria, so he recently just got on. I can't say.
You went from part to full-time.
May have used a day or 2, but I can tell you for sure, Joel Kupion has.
I guess I only even realized it because I read the information
It
in
popped
here, so it popped up.
Yep.
So,
Okay. Crystal clear? We're good?
No.
You can move forward.
Okay, all right.
All right, so we dealt with the 2, last item under the police department. PRF for shared administrative assistant, police and fire, grade 4, 1865 to 30,083 cents per hour, 40 hours a week. We have a PRF put forward, it's signed by our police chief. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and assume the fire chief's good with this too.
Yes, he can do that.
Anything you wanna share before we start our discussions?
Sure. So some of this job description is based on a lot of the current conditions that we're going through with the dispatch center right now, right? And we would like to incorporate our administrator, our assistant, assistant, for, just to give you an idea of how things are working right now. And how I envision this is that this administrative assistant works at the police department, and they work in the where the current lobby is, so they can receive people during the day, Monday through Friday. That's where people can request records. That's where people can request other information as well. If we have somebody actually receiving that, being received at the window Monday through Friday. How that, and how the technical system works is we have a day and night mode on our phone systems. So night mode is essentially we hit one button and all of our calls go through a phone tree. Day mode is that we answer those calls. Those calls often, at times, require people calling. If they call 527-1120, our general business line, often is a call from a hospital or a call from a location within town where they request an ambulance. It might not be dialed 9, they might not dial 911. So that's why we have incorporated here in the job description dispatching duties, because it may require them to get on the radio and assist. And dispatch an ambulance or dispatch the police if someone were to come into that lobby, because they are not only a receptionist at the lobby, in the lobby, but they're also receiving phone calls that could be of emergency nature. It just happened the other day where our dispatcher, who's remaining in that office right now, received a call that we had it in day mode, received a call and she had to dispatch an ambulance, not East Hampton Dispatch. Call came directly to her.
Okay.
That's where that's the part of that, in case you're inquiring about the job description itself. That's why it indicates dispatch duties.
So we generally have, there's generally two different groups of administrative assistants, and they either fall on a grade 3 or a grade 4. This one's being proposed at a grade 4. So to my knowledge, the distinction between those two positions has been loosely defined, but it's the ones in grade 4 are considered confidential administrative assistants.
Mm-hmm.
So what?
Certainly, I can.
What would be some examples?
Sure. Some of those examples would be personnel files within the police department. If we were to utilize them as a dispatcher, there's Corey information. There will be our firearms, working with firearms records and processing them. That requires access to Corey, direct access to Corey, because they're criminal offender record information, sorry.
Is that you? All right. I was looking at Randall back there.
The criminal offender record information is something that this person would have access to, and obviously,
okay,
they have to meet some qualifications to access that.
I'll stop with my questions. Anybody have questions?
No, I don't. Oh, again, it's a new position, but that hasn't been reviewed by the Collins Center. I get it's an emergency, but that's all I think of is the fact that we deny all the other departments. So that's
and I agree with that. Everything is on its own standalone. I think this is a unique.
It is. Yeah.
Because we're also going from, we knew there was going to be a 20-hour one, now it's a 40-hour one, but had we known at the time of the budget that we were going to be in the situation we are now with the dispatching, we probably would have gone with the 40 anyways. Any member of the public not directly related to this want to be heard on this matter?
I just wanted to add, he covered the police side for the confidentiality extremely well, as he should, but I just wanted to stick in and put in 2 cents worth for Rich Fazoli's side is, on the fire side, personnel records again, ambulance records, HIPAA.
Is there a possibility on the fire side that this person could help with processing a more timely manner of reports, like fire reports, ambulance reports, and getting the money back to us sooner, and getting homeowners their reports in under 4 weeks when they lose something?
That, and, it's be the responsibility of this individual to actually assist the chief with the current payroll and vendor warrants also. Right,
instead of paying a deputy chief to do it. And then lastly, just to go off on a whim, could this person potentially be trained up to update run cards?
What?
Run cards
I would
Fire?
say no, because they don't have the technical.
All right, well, it was worth a shot. Is it just my humor? Is there a motion? I'll move to approve it as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All those, caveat, I'll amend my motion. I'll move to approve this now, move it forward, but I would also like to send the job description to the Collins if it's not already there, just so it comes back with the same format as everybody else going forward.
Right.
Did you still second it?
Yeah.
Okay, so the motion as amended, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
With this position, Jen, perhaps those accruals get back to you quicker.
Yes, Edward?
I'll just follow up. The position exists with the Collins Center,
Okay.
but it did not have a job description. They'll now be able to.
Forward that one.
Exists.
It was, well, the funding was approved.
The funding
Right.
was approved, but it didn't really
Right.
exist.
Correct.
Right, yeah.
Right. Next, old business. Do we just leave all those? Yeah. Okay, and then adoption. What am I going through next here?
All right, so what was tabled? Work from home policy. So now we're working on policies, everything else.
Okay. Well, the next thing on my agenda is preparation for okay, so this is our so the first page is our process of how we amend the rules, right? That's in our package?
Yep.
Maybe
So
I
that's
should-
informational.
Yeah, it's just so we know how to
All right.
move forward.
So, first item is working from home, allow working from home, and this is,
So we tabled it last week, last meeting, because of the wording.
it was chunky, right?
Isn't Ed supposed to write something up?
Yes.
I don't know if it was Ed or myself, but
Have a good night.
Oh, thanks, Ian.
Ed, were you the one that was gonna take another stab at the rewriting from work from home?
For what?
Work from home?
Yes, I
Okay,
I haven't gotten around to it yet, but yes, I am guilty of that.
okay, so we'll hold. All right, let's see how this pans out. Next is,
We tabled the 1 o'clock town hall closure to revisit.
and what do we want to do with it now? Continue to hold it, or do we want to take some action on it?
We can continue to hold it. We don't have any input.
Was this for?
Were we
word
waiting for
Or was
somebody?
this for Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve?
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
because of the wording of
it was, how was it going to impact
other
units outside of town hall, specifically highway department?
Library and
police,
highway.
Yeah.
We'll close that.
Well, Randall's here, maybe he can help us with that, on how,
I'm okay with letting the department head have the discretion.
Yeah, that's how I reworded it for us to decide. Outside town hall department buildings, library and highway will close at a half-day schedule due to varying work hours, which shall be at the discretion of the department head.
I'd
But
be
you
okay with
also-
that as long as we add at the discretion of the department head and approval of town administrator. So the department head gets to initiate it, but they've got to get the blessing of the town administrator.
but if it's in our policy, why would they need the blessing of the town
Well,
administrator?
I'm saying put that in the policy. Add that in.
Yeah, but then at that point, why don't you just let the
Why don't you just, yeah, let the town administrator
You know what I mean?
decide?
Well, you don't know
Yeah.
who, again, we're not setting the rules for who's currently doing the jobs. We're setting the rules for the future. And in the
Right.
future, I'm not necessarily
Oh.
want look at the problems we have now with department heads that feel they can make independent decisions because they may answer to a different board.
We can leave it as is and just have you vote every holiday.
Because we have to be able to trust them, right? I mean, trust who we hire.
That's probably the best thing is, never mind.
Leave it as it is.
Sorry, the peanut gallery
Thanks,
has an
Randall.
opinion at all times.
Nope,
and I
you
have
were
such a
called
hard
upon
time.
this, as long as you maintain your civility.
It might be better just to have, you're gonna have different select boards, you're gonna have different town administrators, and you're gonna have different department heads. maybe it's best to just have the select board make the decision on a year-to-year basis. That way there's not really a precedent and.
Yeah, so that's what the select board voted right now, and to do it in their second June meeting. I mean, July meeting, second July meeting of every year, make that vote. Because what I wanted, which is why I brought it up originally, because it seemed like we were having emergency meetings when I first got on.
Well, I mean,
the week of Thanksgiving for that sole vote.
it's not an emergency.
Well,
It's you're giving employees an extra day off, which is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but it's not. Jesus Christ! Don't make it an entitlement.
all right. So we do have to still hold the meeting for June 19th, though, right? Juneteenth.
No,
I-
That was already
We did a
approved.
public
Yeah,
hearing
that
on
was
it?
Yeah.
approved with the public hearing, yes,
Yeah, that went into effect
a
last.
while ago.
All right. What about the top piece? Full-time and part-time, inserting the word benefited?
Where are you?
Do we-
I thought we did agree on that, right?
Yeah,
Right, so we want to move that piece forward for public meeting?
yeah, that's
Right.
already.
The holiday
Oh, is it a
Yeah.
different spot?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that one's
So-
done. Yep,
Yeah, I would say that we just leave it as is.
yeah.
And the work from home, that can be on
We're
hold
gonna get that.
until further input.
Right.
Additional meal reimbursement policy.
What,
Okay,
oh, we're not finishing the,
What was that?
finishing what?
well, we didn't, so sick days, that one,
Where are you?
I'm just
You're
going
going
down
out
the
of order,
agenda.
Jen.
okay. Well, I don't even have, yeah.
Where'd you
I
do
don't have the
it?
agenda in front of me. It's like in the stack somewhere.
Pull it
I was
out.
gonna open it online because I just can't without anymore. I have so much paper.
Here's the original, just don't write on it. So
So,
we're about,
We're right here.
Oh,
So we're on
okay.
meal reimbursement policy. We just discussed
Yes.
these two.
okay. So meal reimbursement policy, the suggested change is to
So,
conflicting with select board policy approved 214, remove.
Where is it?
Meal reimbursement will be limited to no more than the following, including taxes and gratuities. Expenses incurred in excess of these limits will be at the employee's expenses.
so it looks like the select board had approved one, whether they know that it was in rules and
I thought it was just
regulation. I
changing
don't know,
the
but it
dollar
was, did
amounts.
not, it did.
Right.
It's, there's nothing wrong with it. It just needs to go through the proper channels.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was also in there, and what we
Yeah.
found this year with the select board, if you don't mind me talking through the chair, was that we actually found that a piece that says the select board is supposed to review their existing policies yearly. They had an existing policy on meals, so we went through them. We recognized that due to inflation, it was a little out of date, so I will take the hit and apologize to the PPPB because I did not.
So is the
realize it
10,
was also
15,
under rules and
25
regulations.
what the select board approved, or that's the original?
So the first one, no, this is the original one. So
Yeah.
on the next page is the one submitted by the select board,
Okay. So
which they approved. So as long as we approve it, we can move it over to a hearing.
okay.
So they
No
really
itemized
just
trash
increased.
slips will not be duplicated.
And one of the lines is a duplicate, that's all. The last line.
Thoughts?
I'm happy with
it.
Seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah. A motion to,
yeah, it's fine by me.
Motion to approve and move forward to public hearing?
yes.
There's a motion made by
We
Robin,
already-
seconded by, go ahead.
Oh, we're moving it, okay, so we're moving it forward to public hearing now to add it to the policy. So it was a select board policy, but it really wasn't approved, right? Because it
Well,
shouldn't have been because it was already in our personnel regulations
correct,
manual.
so there was an oversight there,
We're
however,
paying this right now.
yeah, because
The new
even,
amount.
even if we hold a public hearing and it gets shot down, the
Mm-hmm.
findings of the public hearing still have to go to the select board, and then the select board would vote. In
Right,
this case, they've already
They
taken the
already
vote.
did
right.
So we just,
move it forward.
Not that it would get shot down, but
yeah. I think we just run through the process with it.
I just like to follow rules, you know?
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
I,
Opposed? Done.
Aye.
Okay. Page 14, add certificates and licensing. under
So that's just the word.
contents of record? Okay.
Yeah, that was something our previous board we discussed, and they wanted to add that in certificates and licenses.
As part of the employee file.
Yep.
Any reason not to do it?
No.
Motion to accept, move forward for public hearing? I'll make it. Seconded by David. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Done. Classification plan. We have two things. Under administration of classification plan, letter C, to conduct periodic studies to ensure, which is, it's a grammar, it's a spelling issue, the classification plan.
Yep,
That's it.
it's just correcting. Insure to insure.
Motion to move forward for public hearing.
Aye.
Is there a second? I'll make the motion.
Yeah, second.
Second by David, all in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. This is page 24 and 25, remove finance, not part of the process, change to accountant.
So the accountant signs off on the PCS, it's just a matter of process. Versus finance.
Yep.
Back in the day they did.
Motion to approve and move forward for public hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I'm gonna say that passed unanimously. Social media policy.
We do not have one. Is that something we
So
want
is
to
it-
consider doing?
This is
It's a sample.
initial.
Yeah, it's just a sample from East Hampton. If it's something that we want to do, think about. Is that something that should be in our rules and regulation or a select board policy? I don't know.
Well, I know we have 2 social media officers already being compensated for managing social media. And no, it's not the highway department.
We do.
So this is if someone
Yes.
puts something negative, it helps us with the plan or...
So, I'm all in favor of having it, but I guess because the police and fire already are compensating people to be their social media people, or at least one is, that we should probably forward it to them for feedback, those 2 department heads,
Okay,
right?
sure.
See what they think about it,
Okay.
right?
So a motion to send a social media policy to police
Yeah,
station
why don't we-
What
feedback?
they think about it, this will also pertain to how employees,
Why don't
you
we,
know, behave on social media themselves, or employees going on social media, you know,
why don't we ask all department heads to review and comment
right?
one way or the other? Either, yeah, I'm in favor, or no, I have no opinion.
I believe Ian has one too, by the way.
I
In his
would,
department, it might not be.
it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. It might not be a bad, model.
It would surprise me
Then
if
maybe we should
if anybody else had one, but.
Well, yeah.
So there's a motion on the floor to forward to all department heads and request feedback within the next 30 days. And to at least acknowledge receipt of it,
Second.
if nothing else.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
So the other ones are what we reviewed.
Okay.
I changed some wording, and if you want, we just want to check and make sure that I have this correct. We all agree upon it before it goes forward.
So this is the vacation one to start.
Yep. So that was what Ed had submitted from the select board.
Okay.
I know it's tiny.
I know. I don't read the newspaper
But all I
anymore,
did
so I'm not used to
was,
the
I just
script.
made the changes so we can make sure, yep, this is what we agreed on.
And Jen, you're good with the multiplier of .166
Sure.
for the services? Okay.
Are you, yeah, are you sure?
I haven't calculated it, I haven't tried using it, but
Okay.
I'm sure it's fine.
There's no objections?
No
We'll make a
objection.
motion to move forward for public hearing. I shall. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Jen. All in favor?
I'm
Opposed?
gonna abstain.
Okay.
That was recommended.
301. Seeking authorization to fill positions. This is where we're saying the PRF only needs to go to finance for newly created positions.
Yeah, so it's just adding that word,
Yep.
that wording.
I'll make a motion to move forward for public hearing.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Holidays. Oh, okay. This is inserting the word benefited, that coverage. Remove the word all employees and specify full-time and part-time benefited employees who are benefited and work 20 hours or more, hired on or before approval date of the passage of this. So there's a grandfather clause there. What? So wait a minute. Employees who are benefited and work 20 hours or more. So if we don't make a change, are there any employees who are less than 20 hours non-benefited that are getting this benefit?
Yes.
So the grandfather clause here doesn't work. Because it says full-time and part-time benefited employees who are benefited and work 20 hours or more hired on or before the approval date.
So whenever it's approved, we'll add that date.
Right, so approval
So-
date is today forward. If you're hired today forward, this is what applies, but it's silent about those that were already here, unless well, we can't take benefit away from people, right? I mean, we could, I mean, generally you don't
I
take
think
a
it's
benefit
worded
away from people.
appropriately. So this only covers full-time and part-time benefited employees. Employees who are benefited and work 20 hours or more hired on or before the date that we approved.
But if the original language is all employees, employees who are benefited, well, it just says all employees.
Yeah, we're changing it to full-time and part-time benefited, because there is also a part-time non-benefited.
So is the section afterwards that's not highlighted here on mine, is that all new as well?
Yes. Yes.
All right, so the old wording just said all employees, period.
Yes.
Without definition.
Yeah.
So now we're trying to fill in the full-time benefited
Yeah,
employees who
we're
are
just,
benefited and work 20 hours
Documenting the coverage.
or more. So the question is, the employees that don't fall under this, who in the past had gotten this benefit, are going to lose the benefit.
No, they're grandfathered.
But that's what it says.
And work 20 hours or more hired on or before.
Because the definition says full-time and
On or
part-time
after.
benefited.
Okay, so it's backwards.
Exactly, yes,
Yes.
right.
Okay.
So it should say, so I guess full-time, part-time benefited employees who are benefited and work 20 hours or more.
Hired after.
Yeah, after
Okay, that makes sense.
the approval date. Because those that are getting right now will
Yep.
continue to get until they retire. They'll be grandfathered.
Yes.
That was the intent.
Yeah. Which is right, because it doesn't take the benefit away from people.
Right.
So we're going to change that one word before to after.
Yes.
Is there a motion to move this forward for public hearing as amended? Yes, I made it. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. 301. Probationary period. This is, okay, so this is clear. Current language probation period is defined as the first 90 of actual work. And what we're saying is insert calendar days and remove, well, just remove of actual work. And probationary period shall be 90 calendar days, period.
Yeah, and we also added C definitions. Where is it? C definition section F. Where the heck is it? Are we in the same one? Is that 21 on your page?
No, I'm at number 9. I'm a page before you.
Okay, so it's on the next page.
Okay.
So we're talking about Right, we're moving on from that.
All right, so that was part one of probationary. And then the second part is just to clear up the conflict and refer back to definition.
Yes.
Okay. I'm good with that. And then on page 8 is the definition itself, which then also changes. Or did I jump over to? Yeah, I jumped over to the next one. So we have two changes on the probationary period. The definition and to make it calendar days instead of actual work. Everybody want to move those forward? Anybody?
I'm abstaining.
Going once?
Motion to
Twice?
approve change.
Yeah,
Motion.
motion approved.
David makes the motion to approve. Jen seconds. All in favor? Aye. One abstention.
Abstain.
Okay. Probation. All right, this is on full-time. Change the definition of full-time employees to insert per mass retirement system full-time equivalency as defined as a minimum of 35 hours per week for all purposes, all services. Less than 35 hours a week will be prorated against the full-time equivalency of 35 hours a week. Currently, the calculation is based on 40 hours.
Yeah, so all we're doing is adding in per county retirement system. Per, so in this copy, it says mass, but we're gonna change it to county to reflect our county retirement.
Any discussion?
No discussion here.
There is? Oh, no. All right. Motion to approve. Move forward for public hearing.
I'll second it.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay. Sick leave. Sick days may be carried over to accumulate up to a maximum of 10 days, 10 sick days per fiscal year. Sick days may be used during probationary period. Employees with less than 6 months of service shall be provided sick leave in accordance with the following schedule. Okay.
So we just added in that line.
Yep. So this permits right now, employees get 5 sick days. If they don't use their sick days at the end of the year, they lose them, right? It's a use it or lose it process. And now we're saying that if you get to the end of the year and you have 5 sick days, you can carry that over so that you could build up a potential 10 days. And if in year 2 you used a day, you're still accruing, so yeah. So you're really not gonna run into an accrual issue until year 3. I'll move it forward for public hearing.
Second.
Seconded by David. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed? 1 abstention. PCF, we're changing something here.
So we're just adding the new form and taking out the old one that was approved a long time ago,
I mean,
right? Add current PCF from,
Yeah.
so we're not,
where are you?
Do you
so
want
the
to
next thing was personal days, so I'm following the agenda.
Oh, I gave you a new one, remember? I told you had to pull that out.
I just went on to my computer and,
Right, that's the page that needed to be pulled. I pulled out everybody else's.
okay.
Because I wasn't sure what we determined, I watched the meeting again, just to see,
Okay.
so.
So we're gonna bring that back up at a later
No,
point?
we're not bringing it up at all.
What do you mean?
The personal days?
Yeah.
We decided, at the last meeting, we decided not to allow during probation, right?
And not to allow to carry over.
And I thought we did, and you said, no, we didn't, so I watched it, and then I pulled that page. So you're the
Okay.
only one that has that page.
Okay.
All right.
I think
Sorry.
what Robin just said is right, John.
Gotta be right once.
So, motion to approve the replacement of the PCF form to reflect the new one that's currently used.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and is that's...
And then we agreed to pull
75, 76,
76,
Yep.
77, because we do not use them.
I'll do that. Okay, the time is 7:23. I say we go 7 more minutes and take the last 3 late filings, if there's no objection.
Yeah.
Okay. First on my list is a PCF effective 10/15/2023 for Lawrence A. Felix, or I'm assuming that's his last name.
Lawrence Felix.
Yeah, Felix of,
We don't have copies of these,
No,
'cause
that's all.
I didn't know if we were gonna vote on them or not.
Somers, Connecticut, to be a as-needed firefighter EMT, Class B at $16.92.
Summers, Connecticut?
Summers.
Same, so yes, that is what is before us.
I would. So we have to, is that just his mailing address? Is that maybe not where he or she is living?
It's also an
Yes,
EMT
we would-
basic.
part-time, as
It's not a
needed.
paramedic.
Yeah, is there, I mean, do they have to be within a
They're
certain
all on
radius?
call. Normally, they would try to hire them,
Well, the on-call
someone in
schedule,
the area.
And
So,
do they schedule the on-call?
Is it fire or medical or both?
Well, it's firefighter EMT basic,
Okay, that could be on the ambulance, so
with an assigned paramedic.
that would be, yeah, so that would be, they're here, rather than being on call.
But they
They're
call them
scheduled.
on-call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just,
Everyone's considered on-call, right?
less than $17 an hour, and you're gonna drive from Somers, Connecticut to Southampton.
Maybe dating somebody in the area, possibly?
We cannot take that into consideration
Well, I
when
mean,
forming our
we're
opinion.
all looking for plausible
Well,
explanations.
I did say that maybe Summers is just his
Throwing out
mailing address or her mailing address, and I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, my gut tells me that the fire chief must know something we don't know, because he's putting this forward, so. I'm fine with approving it with the caveat that within 6 months, we audit this file to see how many shifts they actually worked.
Are we gonna remember that?
Instead, well, if we put it in the motion. Because I do tend to think we carry a few extra bodies in certain departments that we have to pay extra insurance on. That, you know, so I'm okay with
I
it,
mean,
but with moving it forward and approving it, but
I'm
of
okay
course,
with it.
someone's got to second it. All right, seconded by Jen. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay, next, Dakota Pandolfini of Southampton is to do probationary firefighter as needed, $15 per hour, effective October 15th. Is there a motion
Motion
to
to
approve?
approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, passes.
The last one didn't make the agenda. He has another PCF, but
And we have a Michelle Murdoch. This is a continuation of a temporary non-benefited eligible position of veterans agent related to Jerry Paquette's leave. Service office extended through November 30th to accommodate for Jerry's resignation in time to interview and potentially hire a permanent solution. No change to the stipend, remains at $341.10 biweekly, has all the appropriate signatures.
it's just an extension through November 30th.
Robin makes a motion to approve it,
Second.
seconded by David. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Thank you very much.
No problem. The chair has nothing else for us to consider. Any committee member?
Motion to adjourn?
There's a motion to adjourn
At
at
7:30?
7:24.
7:24.
I don't know, 7:28.
You said you were going until 8.
It's sec-
There's
if we
something
had
I really
to.
wanted to talk to you about.
No,
It's gonna take
public,
about...
public comment. All in favor?
Aye.
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 This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.